The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to a special meeting of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. We're meeting this morning for the appointment of the Maricopa County Sheriff. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, good morning. We have Supervisor Hickman.
Here.
Supervisor Gates.
Here.
Vice Chair Galvin.
Here.
Supervisor Gallardo.
Here.
And Chairman Sellers.
Here. Okay, we did interview 3 candidates. I would entertain any comments or a motion from the board.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make a brief comment and I'm going to make a motion. First of all, this has been a very intense but very important process. Law enforcement is very important to me. It's very important to all 5 of us, and we took this process very serious. There are a couple of statutory mandates that are required of us, and we follow those. I think I speak for all of us when I say express appreciation for all 8 people who applied to serve. All of them are very qualified, and we're grateful for their service and dedication to law enforcement. I want to particularly point out the 3 applicants who made the final round and came in for interviews. All 3 interviews were vastly enlightening and important. And I think one candidate has stood out. And for me, it's a person who's provided decades of experience in Maricopa County and will serve all of us, Democrat, Republican, Independent, and treat all of the constituents of Maricopa County with respect. Mr. Chairman, I'm proud to make a motion to approve Russ Skinner for Sheriff of Maricopa County.
Thank you. And before I go to a second, I would like to acknowledge the other electeds in the audience. Thank you for being here. Assessor Eddie Cook and Recorder Stephen Richer. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Chair, I would second that motion, and if I may make a brief comment as well.
Please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, would echo all the comments of Supervisor Galvin, Vice Chair Galvin. Mr. Chair, thanks for your leadership on this. This is one of the most important responsibilities of this board is to fill vacancies in any offices, but particularly in this office of sheriff. I would say that this board took this responsibility very seriously and was very impressed by the folks who applied for this position. But for me, I will be voting in favor of this motion, appointing Russ Skinner as our new sheriff, because this is such a critical time for Maricopa County. And number one, the growth of this county is well known. We continue to be the fastest growing county in this country for many years, and that puts additional burdens on our sheriff's department to provide great service and protection for the citizens of Maricopa County. Secondly, in these times, we know that there's great attention on the elections that occur in 2024. And I believe that Russ Skinner and his team will be well positioned to protect the voters, the polling places, and the election workers in the upcoming elections here in 2024. And finally, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has been saddled with the Melendres lawsuit for many years. Now, the taxpayers of Maricopa County have been responsible for over $250 million in costs over the past few years. And I believe that Russ Skinner will be in a great position to help us move forward beyond Melendres. So for those reasons, I will be supporting Russ Skinner as our new sheriff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Hickman.
Mr. Chairman, before you take the vote, I will be also in support of Deputy Skinner. Chief Deputy Skinner. I've known Russ for almost the entire time I've been here as a supervisor for more years than I kind of like to remember, but very, very happy that he has decided to make the sacrifice to put his name out there in front of a community. It's tough. It's tough on families, but he's willing to make that sacrifice. I thought long and hard about this because I think the chief deputy has all of the statutory authority that a sheriff would bring. But that would mean we would hold this sheriff job open if we just let Russ serve in the traditional capacity. Russ is taking a pay cut, and he wants to do that willingly. He wants to step into the breach of public service, and I applaud him for it. Law enforcement should know nothing about, as we say time and time again, chiefs of police are appointed in the charter government. But here, with our constitutional duties, and the sheriff is a publicly elected official. So I want to thank him for coming and seeing this and representing and wanting to represent the sheriff's office in this capacity. And that's a major reason why I'm supporting him of the sacrifice he's willing to take on himself. And one of the other key components is this gives him a chance to also pick a chief deputy that can help him with the leadership, and it will be able to give him a little bit more time to affect the changes that we would like to see in Maricopa County and to support our community.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Gallardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, thank you for your work in putting this process together. This is when you have these types of appointments, I think we've all been doing legislative, and we do JPs and as well as county-wides. They're not easy processes. We have good candidates that step up. No different in this particular process. We had 8 well-qualified candidates that stepped up and submitted their applications, their resumes to be considered. I think it was unanimous that the 3 that rose to the top, we had an opportunity to interview and ask questions. Any of these 3 candidates, I believe, could have stepped in and ran what is the fourth largest sheriff's office in the country. No doubt, I've always said this, and I think we all agree that the sheriff's office is very, very important. And you look at the history on where this sheriff's office has been. In 2016, the voters of Maricopa County elected a Democrat, Paul Penzone, in a direct response to the tactics of Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Let's be honest, those are the facts. It was overwhelmingly, I would venture out to say that Republicans, Democrats, and Independents decided they wanted a change here in Maricopa County. With that said, I do want to also thank Paul Penzone for his service here in Maricopa County. He was elected by the people of Maricopa County to perform a task to really rebuild that image, rebuild that community trust. We have seen everything that has gone on with the federal court and Melendez, as stated, but there's a lot of work still to be done. But I do want to thank Penzone for all the hard work he has done in the sheriff's office. When it comes to Chief Deputy Skinner, I congratulate him on this nomination. However, I will not be supporting this nomination. I do look forward to working, if the votes go that way, which I think it will. I look forward to working with Chief Skinner to really build the trust with the community. There's a trust factor. I'm being honest. There's a trust factor that needs to be dealt with. Concrete steps in building that trust, way more than just an advisory board, but really setting up concrete steps in order to build the trust with the community and the sheriff's office. So with that, I look forward to working with Chief Skinner as we continue to repair the damages Sheriff Joe Arpaio and his legacy, unfortunately, that really remains right now within Maricopa County. We need to work to build those trusts, erase that legacy, and have the sheriff's office with the utmost confidence and trust that we all know can get there. But it can only be done by working together and working with the entire community. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the motion. However, I will not be supporting it.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. And I want to also thank Russ Skinner for being willing to do this for our community. And I do want to mention that, you know, one of the things that has been discussed a lot is the Democrat. We had to replace the sheriff with a Democrat, and a lot of discussion around party affiliation and people changing parties to be eligible. In my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of the people I talk to, law enforcement should not be a partisan political position. And so we as a group really discounted that and looked to find who is absolutely the best candidate to run the county sheriff's office during what could be a very contentious year. We're going to be running 3 elections this year. We need someone who has the respect of the people in the county sheriff's office and also the respect of the other law enforcement agencies in Maricopa County. And Deputy Chief Skinner meets that qualification. So with that, I call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now we're going to take a brief recess. And then we'll have a press conference. I will not adjourn the meeting until after the press conference. So thank you. We're taking a brief recess.